All right, I know this has made the rounds on TikTok, but if you haven't heard, this is Kimberly Coates. She was arrested for allegedly being drunk on the job and pulled out of an Oklahoma classroom, as you can see in the headline there. I'm going to make a comment on this in just a second. All right, so first, I want to address the part that most people are probably going to attack me for the comments I'm going to make, which is, if she was drunk, it was wrong. Yes, it was, absolutely, and there should be some ramifications for that. But that's for a very small portion of this. If you haven't seen the video, go seek out the body cam footage for the whole thing. And I'm going to express a couple things here that might be unpopular with some, but I used to work in education. I'll put that first. I was a technician for a middle school, so I'm familiar with situations like these. I worked at a school where we had these kind of issues. They were not as public or apparent as you would think they are. These things happen. There are people that have problems that still function. There are functioning alcoholics. That's a thing, okay? And teaching is very difficult. If you have never been in an educational facility before, a middle school, a high school, elementary school, any of that, if you haven't been in any of those, then you probably do not know what you're talking about. But we'll put that to the side for now, and I'm going to address the bigger issue I have here. One, they do have a right to search her classroom. You sign that away in most cases when you work in education. I had to sign a waiver when I started working in the middle school I was, that if they suspected anything, they had the right to search my classroom. I had a classroom that was my tech office, but it was still a classroom. They had a right to search that. They had a right to search some of my personal belongings on campus. There are things there that you sign away working in education, so that doesn't surprise me. What did was the line of questioning, and there's two lawyers that are on here. I can't remember their names, and I apologize because I really like those guys. I think they're in Vegas, but they always spout the just don't say anything, shut your mouth. I'm saying it nicely, but they're always telling you not to say anything. She shouldn't have said anything, and she should ask for a lawyer. I don't care what she did. She's incriminating herself, and they know that, and police officers will take advantage of the vulnerable, and they do. When they asked her if she's on any medications, that's a violation of her rights. She is not supposed to disclose. They can't even ask. There are proper channels for them to do that. Asking her if she had anything to drink, she should have said no, or said no comment, I want to see my lawyer. She should have lawyered up immediately, because the line of questioning, things they were doing, was wrong. I hope she gets a good lawyer, and I hope she pushes against that. Granted, I still think she's going to get in trouble if she was drinking on the job, and that's if she was drinking on the job. She did not appear drunk to me, and I know drunks are very different. I know people who are drunk, I should say, get different ways, but she did not appear drunk. She did not appear intoxicated. And the officer's comment that, you know what this is, right? These things are rarely wrong. That is not true either. Breathalyzers are wrong all the time. There are plenty of people that go to court showing the breathalyzer was not working correctly, and they ended up getting slapped with a ticket for being over the legal limit while they were driving when they were not drunk, had not drank. So that's a fightable offense as well. But they badgered her. 3 people on one. Just going after her one after the other is wrong. They interrogated her to the point that she broke down. She's obviously already having a hard time. She doesn't need to be disclosing information, but she was given no representation. On the other hand, I'm assuming that's the principal there, and the assistant principal or secretary, whatever it was, called a police officer in, which police officers can be very intimidating to people. And man, they rode her like they were breaking a horse in, man, until she just calmly complied and then broke down. And then they take her out in cuffs. She's not a flight risk. What did she need to be handcuffed for? What was the point of that? She wasn't hurting anybody. If she was drunk, drunks generally aren't a problem in her condition anyway. She wasn't running. If she was going to do anything physical, she would have done it there at the table. She didn't try to take off, and sobbing, she asked if they could just not do the handcuffs because she didn't want to be embarrassed in front of the students that obviously she still cares about. But that's the thing. Administration in these buildings, man, let me tell you, administration in school buildings is a very, very difficult thing. I've worked with some good administrators. I've been in other school buildings that have horrible administrators, and there is a huge disconnect between administration staff and teaching staff. A huge disconnect. And there are so many people that make school days work that do not actually get to make the decisions about what's going on day to day. You know, I could tell you the story about the time I worked in education where I had to sit in because I was part of tech and we were getting digital textbooks. We were also getting regular textbooks with software support, where I was asked my opinion as I'm sitting in a panel with other teachers who ultimately help make that decision, whether they should get the textbooks that cut out more of Civil War education so they can include more for September 11th, or if we should get these textbooks that cut out another portion of older American history to fit more of the newer stuff in. Do you know how disgusting that is? How awful that is? And teachers have to deal with this. I saw teachers in history departments that were very upset by having to make a decision like that. So don't sit there and tell me that, oh, they just need to run the straight and narrow. Life's not that simple. Nothing's that simple. And if you don't understand, then you obviously have not been in any real life situations ever. So this whole situation was awful. I hope she gets a lawyer and she at least does something to get something out of this, or at least get something lessened, because what they did was wrong and how they did it was wrong. Any other case, if any other advocate for rights will tell you not to say anything, but in this case, she's just supposed to roll over and take it. That's just wrong. So this is your reminder. If you can't find those lawyers that are here on TikTok, I'll try to find them. But shut your mouth. If there's a cop in the room, you don't say anything. He arrested her, but I didn't see him read her any rights either. He didn't Mirandize her. I don't know if it's a thing in every state, but certain states they have to Mirandize you or that's an illegal arrest. Something to that degree. I could be wrong. But she needs to get a lawyer, a good lawyer, and she needs to be going after each of these things. It was done wrong. Yeah, there's so much wrong with this.